I remember one day I got a call from one of these students, and of course, she was not my student, but she wanted to she wanted to take some English classes from me. So I just told her, okay, please come, let me know your problem so that I can help you with it. And she shared with me about the need of English that she had, because on the next week she wanted to go for interview. And I just asked her, within a week, how would you think that you would develop your English? Is it possible, by the way? But she said, sir, I don't need to have a complete English course, or I don't want to learn English perfectly, but I just want to prepare for my interview. Then I asked, what do you mean by preparing for the interview and you need English? She said that I just want to get the answers of the basic questions that are asked in the interview. And I told, how is it possible? What are you going to do? Because you don't know how to reply and how to communicate and how to converse with the people. How would you think that you would reply all those questions they would ask you? Then she said that doesn't matter. I just want to memorize some of the answers, especially the most traditional question that is asked in the interview, that is, tell me about yourself. I just want to memorize it and mug up it, and I want to just go and crack the interview. Then I asked, how do you think that it is possible? And just because of your little introduction, and that is also mug-upped one, memorized one, the interviewers would be happy and they would take you. But she said, sir, you don't worry about that. I just needed that small part of introduction in English, and I would go and I would just share that interview, and I'm sure that they would select me. Then I said, okay, but let me tell you, I'm not going to assure you that you would be selected in the interview, because this is not at all the way. This is not the way that you just memorize some of the answers of these questions, and in that way they are not going to evaluate you. On the contrary, it would be a deception. You are posing as if you know English, whereas the truth of the matter is that you don't know English. You are just deceiving them, and it would be a bad impression if you would do such a thing. So better, I suggest you that why don't you just wait for at least 1 or 2 months and make your English perfect, or have some fluency, and then you go and give interview. But she said, no sir, I have no time, I just want to go. That is why I have come here. Please write that introduction down on a paper, and I just want to memorize it, and I would go and give interview there. But I told her very frankly, see, I don't want to do it, but because you are insisting me, so I can write it down, I have no problem. But I am not assuring you that it would really help you in any way. So I wrote that down on a piece of paper, and I just gave it to her, and she was very happy, as if she would crack that interview. So on the day of interview, when she was before the interviewers, most of the time the same basic and the most traditional question, like tell me about yourself, these type of questions they ask. So as usual, she was asked this question, and since she had already memorized it, without stopping it, like non-stop, she just recited that introduction that she had already memorized. And for that instant, the interviewers were impressed, because she was very fast. And what happened, the interviewers were curious enough to talk to her more and wanted to know more about her. And so listening to her English and the way she answered that question, they put some more questions to her. And when they asked some questions regarding her work and the skills, she was speechless, and she was not able to give answers because she did not know what questions they would ask her. And at that situation, she felt embarrassment and she was very sad because she was not able to answer them. And after some time, when these interviewers understood that she just came there with good introduction only, and she memorized it, and she just came and talked, and she just recited there without realizing the fact that we would require people who were fluent in English. And politely they said to her, "Ma'am, it is not a good thing for you to do such a thing. If you don't know English, you better go and learn and pick up your fluency and learn English well. Then you can come and give interview. And please don't ever repeat this. We are not here to just listen to your memorized introduction, because we are running a company here and we need people who are good at communication. And we want people who can communicate fluently, not just having this kind of small introduction." And she was so embarrassed, and she just came from there. And the next day I asked her what happened, whether she was selected. She said, "Sir, you were right. Better I had waited, then I would have gone to give interview, because I failed in the interview because they required people who would speak English fluently. But I only memorized that introduction part, and I just recited there only." And they were impressed for a moment, but later they became very upset when I couldn't answer the other questions which they asked. "So I'm so sorry, sir. Now I want to join the classes and I want to learn English fluently. I don't care whether how many days takes, but I want to have my fluency in English." So I just asked her to please join the classes, and she joined the classes, and within just 2 or 3 months she picked up her fluency and she was able to speak well. And then she went to the interview and she was selected. So this type of things we see everywhere. And if you are listening to me, I'm sure that you also think that going for an interview means just cracking that interview part. Remember, it is not like that. Going to an interview simply means that they are going to check each and everything of your life. Means they will check your skills, and if English is the most important requirement there, they would check English in various ways. It is not just the introduction that you need to perform there or to recite there, but there are many other things which they would know. So students, or my dear friends, when you are planning to actually go to interview, please remember these very things, that you don't ever commit a mistake like this girl did. She just memorized it and mugged up the introduction or the self-introduction, and she went to the interviewers thinking that just because of her good introduction she would be selected. But she forgot the fact that the interviewers are not looking for just people who were very good at, or who are very good at giving introduction only, but they are seeking for good communicators who could speak or who can speak English very well. So that is why, my dear friends who are listening to me, I know that you are also preparing for your interview. So as you are preparing for your interview, you must know that nowadays, anywhere you go, English or the language English is a requirement, not because they want to, but because it is a need of the present time. Because anywhere you go, everywhere people require or they need English language because of the changes that we are looking at our world. Things are becoming different now. Few decades ago things were different, but nowadays when we look at the globalized world and the power of internet, everything has changed and everything has come into one language, that is English. That is why they need to have people who could communicate English well. So that is why they keep it a requirement in any interview that you must be able to speak English fluently. So remember that you will be selected only when your English is fluent. So don't waste your time and just simply mug upping some self-introduction part and go to the interviewers and tell or recite those mug upped or memorized introductions. You will not be selected. Better you do one thing. See, I suggest this to every student who comes to me, that instead of just preparing for your self-introduction, or why don't you make your English fluent? Why don't you practice well? At least 3 to 4 months you require to get fluency in your English, so that when you would go to any interview, you will be able to face that interview and you will have that fluency, and you'll be able to answer any of the questions which you will be asked. So I just suggest this thing to every student who are actually preparing for, or any person who is preparing for interview. So don't commit this mistake. Just don't be satisfied with that self-introduction only, but have the fluency by joining the classes and practicing English in a practical way. So that is why in our English classes I always provide practical classes, and I encourage the students to speak and speak and speak instead of studying it, because sometimes we waste our time in learning some studies of English. Rather, if you want to be fluent in English, you must practice in English. You must talk in English whenever you have time to talk to people. Why do you waste your time? Just talk to the people and always be busy with English, so that you would be able to speak English well. So this is a solution for this problem. So if you are preparing for any interview, and if you think or if you have heard or come to know that English is a requirement there, so please, I suggest you that you join any English classes at least for 3 to 4 months until you develop your fluency, and then you go and appear in the interview, and I am sure and you also will come to know that you will be selected there. So that is the right way of going or preparing for the interview. Okay, hope that you have understood, and I'm sure that you will follow this so that you will be selected in the interview that you're preparing for. Okay, so all the best, and I wish that you'd be selected and you will develop your fluency in English, and I'm sure that if you do so, you will surely have the job that you are actually seeking for. Okay, so with these words, I wish you all the best. Thank you.